Our schooling was interrupted by World War II, but I got a year in before I went in. Ended up a second lieutenant. Didn't get overseas until the shooting was over. I ended up at the 969th Engineer Maintenance Company at the Firth Engineering Depot. And I was a mechanical officer. And I was the Class A dispersing agent for the company. I paid them their salaries. Germany was pretty badly shot up. Downtown Nuremberg was a mess. There was so much damage there. When I drove to the finance office, I followed the path that had been bulldozed through the rubble of central Nuremberg. There were 100,000 people living in air raid shelters in Nuremberg because their homes were destroyed. I had a vivid imagination and an intense curiosity. After I'd returned the payroll, I would often stop at the justice ministry and walk in and into the courtroom and sit down. Well, there was a section that was made for observers, and they had earphones at each seat and a dial so you could dial each of the 4 languages. Actually, there were 4, and they were facing me, I was facing them. The prisoners, 20 or so of them, were on the left as I looked, and they were facing the court, and Goering was the nearest one. I would say probably 40 feet, maybe a little less than that. I was sitting there, and we had a lot of this going back and forth and not much interrogation. But I saw them. We're not far from Buchenwald. Oh yeah. And that was covered in the Stars and Stripes. I thought they were getting a fair trial. They did a lot of terrible things and not just starting a war. Killing all the Jews. They didn't kill them all, but they tried.
So you were in a command structure, and you answered to your commanding officer, I assume.
Yes.
And you gave commands.
Yes.
Had you been faced with an order to shoot somebody in the head in public or in the back room?
I tell him to go to hell. You don't do that.
Or, I think about loading the people on the rail cars. How would you have dealt with that if you were in a command structure and you were ordered to herd people onto trains that were headed somewhere?
I wouldn't expect those kinds of orders from American officers.
But Nuremberg is more than an answer to a question. As Justice Jackson said, this trial is part of the great effort to make the peace more secure. It constitutes juridical action of a kind to ensure that those who start a war will pay for it personally. Nuremberg stands as a warning to all those who plan and wage aggressive war.
Well, the victors were trying the vanquished. I don't think that sets precedence for much. The victor can do anything with the vanquished.